What's up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and we are joined by Adam Carlson tonight. How are you, sir?
I once again am a little bit sleepy. I have not been sleeping well whatsoever, but I'm here. We're going to talk about football, which should be something.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you. Kyle West is here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We're going to talk about Vikings football after a Vikings victory. So that is always a good time to be a fan of the purple and gold.
Andrew, welcome to the chat. Skull, back to you, brother. Thank you for watching. Always watching. You're here every week. I saw some funny things on Twitter. This is episode 495. Almost Jameis. I took a shot at my favorite movie because we almost had Jameis Winston, but almost doesn't count. I was trying to find something creative with Andy Dalton or Chris Olave. I'm sure I could have thought a little more, but I literally said famous Winston this morning, and I thought of that. I was like, oh my God, this is my favorite movie. So that's why you've got the cheesy title today, because I put little to no effort into that. But we are here during this season. In the next 5 episodes, we're going to hit 500. It's insane to think about. This show prides itself on doing a weekly podcast, no matter what time of year it is, and it's been pretty consistent. So that's going to be fun. But we're not going to talk about that one just yet. We're going to talk about this crazy London game. The Vikings, I don't want to call them fraudulent because a win is a win, as I've seen people call them fraudulent on Twitter. But this is the stuff we were just talking about before we got started, where last year this did not go our way, but 2 games in a row, it's went our way. And the Vikings are 3-1, and they have a chance to go 3-0 in the division this coming Sunday. And then you can navigate pretty well from there with a little hiccup.
If you're a Vikings fan, don't try to navigate Twitter too much.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because, boy, a lot of people really upset the Vikings defense gave up a lot of points and that the offense couldn't, they were like, why is everybody blaming the offense? There were a lot of 3-and-outs, and players that were on that offensive line that don't usually get bullied were getting bullied.
I mean, that's a great segue, Adam. I'm giving my donkey today to someone I have never given it to. I don't know that any one of us have given to today. But before we jump right into that, just to recap, Vikings played the Saints in London. This did count as a home game from the Saints. That rocks for us. The Saints got there on Tuesday. The Vikings rolled in on Friday, played a game Sunday, and they're already back in Minnesota today, all but one player.
Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, they're leaning heavy into the sports science side of things, and they somehow had decided that was the best way to, get the team ready for the game. I personally think, and you've flown more than I have, Smith, does it really matter if they get there super soon or super late? I don't know if it does.
I have been overseas many times. I've flown a bunch, and with that long flight, I went overseas 5 times, and there's such a jet lag period. But the thing is, I was on not as nice of a plane as the Minnesota Vikings. So,
yeah. But do you want to adjust to jet lag if you're playing 3 hours earlier than you usually are?
I think they did it right. And I'm not saying that the Saints felt jet lagged. I think before it could catch up with them fully, and like I was saying just now, is they have better amenities than we did. They talked to Dalvin Tomlinson in an interview last week, which was really cool. I haven't heard him say a word since he became a Viking. So it was nice to get some questions to the big men that you don't usually get, the skilled players or the quarterbacks. But he said, I'm going to get on that plane and I'm going to go straight to sleep. And I think that's a smart idea, because if you stay up and then you have that insomnia, you have that body fatigue. If you sit around in something for 8 hours, it's going to be weird. Your body's going to be out of whack.
I have fallen asleep on every flight I've ever been on.
Oh, it's when you can do that, it's such a good feeling. I would say I'm shooting 50%. Usually it's because of a small baby that's not having a good time, or maybe I'm just playing around on my phone. But if you can sleep, I think it gives you a world advantage. But you got to think that the way they're flying, they're probably having a better time than most of us would have on a flight that long.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, they've got the ownership and they've got the money. They should be able to do that. But I would love to hear more about that. I nerd out on that stuff. This is a complete side note from the game, but if you want to check out our Facebook page, I posted a video today that I found, which was super cool. former NFL great wide receiver Steve Smith from the Panthers and the Ravens. He actually came to Minnesota and worked alongside the staff in the culinary department. And it was
Okay.
very random, but it was cool. They
That's
talk about how
interesting.
much.
I was always a fan of his, especially during
Oh,
his playing
absolutely.
time. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I like that he's still cool with the players. So he talks to Kirk Cousins, Josh Sokol, Adam Thielen, and Patrick Peterson. So you see the players involved. But you guys should check that out on our Facebook page if you get a free moment. But let's dive into this game, guys. 28-25, just like we all predicted it. That's a weird score. The Vikings come away with.
Vegas loves that score.
They do love that score. Greg Joseph, 5 for 5 on his field goals. A lot of field goals that day. Well, for
Missed
us,
that
anyways.
extra point, though. That was scary.
That was scary. We all thought when we saw that, that's going to be the dagger. It's going to be that 1 point loss. But let's jump into it, guys. Who do you give your game ball to for this London game against the Saints?
I'm going to give mine to old man Patrick Peterson, who I thought had himself.
If you didn't, I was going to.
Right.
Because he was making some athletic plays.
He sure did. That's why you bring in those veteran players. You know they're not going to be able to do it every game, but every now and then he kicks it in, and you're like, yeah, that's why he's played in the league for 10 years and had all those Pro Bowl appearances and is probably going to the Hall of Fame. Like he had a really good game for Minnesota.
He did. Corner play in this game was pretty good. I liked it.
Adam Thielen's been invisible most of the season, so I'm going to give it to him this week because he got involved. He had some good catches. Moves the ball down the field, and he did get banged up and kept playing. So there's that toughness.
I like that. The low-hanging fruit here is Greg Joseph, and by all means, to get all the accolades. But I watched Kevin O'Connell's press conference, and at the very end, I found out who my game ball was earlier today. Eric Kendricks made his 100th start for the Vikings, and he led the team in tackles. So Eric Kendricks been playing for a while for us. The time is flying by. So, yeah, I'm going to give him my game ball. But shout out to all those guys. It was a weird game. The Vikings got started hot, and they got to the red zone a bunch. They just couldn't finish, but ultimately it ended on a double doink in our favor, which was hilarious. I saw a tweet about the NFL gods correcting the Super Bowl title for the Saints with the Minneapolis Miracle, the Rudolph thing, and now this. It's like, it's correcting itself slowly but surely.
It's been funny how karma has caught up to the Saints in terms of playing the Vikings. And
the Vikings let a lot of really good special teams players go this offseason. So it's a bit surprising to see that unit just absolutely looking like they're balling out.
Ryan Wright gets some love from Pat McAfee, does a trick play, gets a pass. Jalen Naylor catches his first pass from none other than the punter. I mean, what a weird game, but we'll get more into the details. I'll start back here. Brian O'Neill had a not so good game, and I'd never given him a donkey, but he was getting worked this game. And it's going to happen, just like we saw with JJ.
Well, Brian O'Neill was only getting beat, like, naturally, which that happens. Garrett Bradbury was getting thrown around like a dead fish.
Yeah, he was.
He was getting turned every direction, thrown on the ground, just pancaked almost every play. It was disgusting. And I haven't given him a donkey yet this year, I don't think. So I think he's due.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm going with Vikings social media, who can't be happy over anything. You win a game, and we're all like, bruh, I'm
like
mad.
Their official account?
No, Vikings fans.
Just the fans in general. Hey, you know what? As I hate this saying because I love Chris Sims, but some of the stuff he says is so stupid. Like, not even because it's unintelligent, just the goofiness of it. He says, self-scout thyself, which is an oxymoron, and it's redundant. But these guys will tell you, if you guys want to make fun of me in the chat for the rest of the show, I was pissed during this game. I was talking so much shit between the three of us. And then karma came back to me because the Vikings were about to punt. I had my son this weekend, so I was catching bits of the game as it was going on. And that's when that trick play went down, and they converted, and they kept moving down the field. And, I mean, it's always fun to get a win. You wonder how many of these are going to stack up this year because there's going to be some tough teams we play later on when it gets colder. We're going to Buffalo. I'm not looking forward to that. But being 3-1 at the first part of the year is pretty fun. And Andrew says the whole O-line gets my donkey. I mean,
considering they played the Packers and an undefeated team, I mean, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Adam, it's like you look at the loss they took to Philly, which I don't really think any of us had pegged as a win anyway, and they're the only team left that is undefeated in the NFL. You kind of don't feel so bad about that one. Like I'm liking where they're looking. Like you said, Smith, they've won in the division. Like they're doing all of those generic bulletin points that like head coaches talk about when it's February, March, about what you want to do, about how you want to win the division. That's what the Vikings are doing right now. So I don't understand the fans who are angry. Like I know that they left a lot on the field and that they need to do a better job in the red zone and putting points up on the board. And
Well, they saw Kamara's out, Slant Boy's out. So, what are they going to do? They're nowhere near the offense that they could be. This should have been a massacre is what a lot of people were thinking.
Right.
But it's not like the Saints don't have talent outside of that group of players that missed the game.
Yeah. It's people gloss over, I think, a little bit that pretty much everyone in the NFL is talented. Even the guys that we give donkeys to all of the time. Like, none of these games are easy. That's what makes the sport fun to watch, is that when a team,
Andy Dalton has started for years.
Right.
I was just going to say that, Adam. The guy say what you want about Marvin Lewis and the Bengals and all that, but consistently winning a division and going to the postseason is an accomplishment. Vikings couldn't do it, and I grant it, during that era, outside of the Steelers, maybe that one Joe Flacco year, the Browns were the Browns, but it was tough to get there. The Vikings couldn't dethrone Rodgers forever. Every 3 or 4 years, maybe they'd sneak in, but he's a bona fide starter for a long time, and that right there is a quality backup that you want to have because he has tons of experience. Look at Miami the other night when they played the Bills, I think.
And Tua won't be starting this week. It's going to be Teddy again.
Mm-hmm.
You want that experience in the backup quarterback position. So a lot of people automatically discredit, but even look around the league. Look how many backups have played this year. Joe Flacco is still in the league and still starting. He's won some games. Cooper Rush is down there dominating for Dallas, and it's like, okay, these are still professional players. I get it that there's a little drop back, but the other part too I've had highlighted for a second is Andrew says the Saints defense is no joke. Happy with how the offense did for the Vikings, but other than the red zone play, that defensive line is unreal. They're very, very good. So you just got to win, man. That's all it comes down to.
Saints pass rush is no joke.
I'm glad Taysom Hill didn't trick play us out of a win.
Yeah,
you guys remember that last playoff game we won down there in 2019 at New Orleans? If he would have stayed with Jameis and or Taysom Hill in the game the whole time, easily would have been a Saints victory, in my opinion. They didn't have the answer for that. I'm glad that they don't use him all the time, but
I don't think Andy had a bad game.
Not at all.
The fumble sucks for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, he was accurate and made good decisions.
New Orleans had 2 fumbles down here. I'm checking those out right now. Andy Dalton, Deontay Hardy, both recovered by the Vikings. Harrison Phillips and Chris Boyd. So good on him, being at the right place at the right time. But going back to what I said earlier,
I think Chris Boyd gave Vikings fans his donkey award too.
Oh yeah.
Did you see on social media? He called out Vikings fans.
Yeah, he did. It was pretty
but
awesome.
I like it. I like keeping the fans accountable.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Kyle.
What? I was just going to say about Andy Dalton, too, and this isn't meant to be a knock on Kirk, but, him and Kirk actually were fairly evenly matched in this game. I think that they both played fairly similar out there on the field. Dalton had more time in the pocket. I think that helped him. Kirk was under constant pressure all game. So you can go back and you can look at it and you can say, oh, he missed this read or this throw was a little off target. Well,
every time Kirk would try to step up in the pocket, Vikings Twitter was like, there was a space to his right if he'd have rolled out to his right.
Well,
That's not what Kirk does. That's not Kirk's thing.
Thank you, Adam.
Unless it's a designed rollout. He's not going out there. He'll step up in the pocket. That's what pocket passers do. Pocket.
Yeah.
Well, this is to your point too, Adam, talking about earlier, he said now that's not what Kirk does. This about the whole team, the regime change, we're 4 games in. So if they had played the preseason, like I mentioned last week, they would just be starting the regular season this game. Right. They're only 4 games in, but they figured out ways to be a little bit better than other teams. Detroit has scored 35 or more points in a game, I think every game this year.
They're the number 1 scoring offense in the league, I think.
It's wild. So these opponents that they're beating aren't scrubs either. They beat the Packers week 1. They beat them handily.
The number of times Kirk looked up after dropping back. There's a Saints player right there.
Oh.
And Kevin O'Connell even mentioned this too, and it's a point that we've made on the show.
Kirk's got to stop doing that back foot throw, though, to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
But, they're still so new in this offense, and I know people are going to say, oh, well, you're just apologizing for Kirk Cousins right now. But it's fair in this instance to say that they're not fully up to speed with it yet, too. Like, they're still learning. Like you said, we're 4 games into an offense that is fairly complex and complicated. Mm-hmm. So you keep giving them time to grow, and I think by the end of October, early November, I think you're going to see a difference with it.
I think so too. I like that Justin Jefferson had a bounce back game. He wasn't super dominant, but the stats were good. He got started early, and he's going to have to fight through, especially Kyle has been saying this in our personal chat a lot. The thing that we've noticed, all of us, and you guys too, because you watch the games, is this year, this kid wasn't going to go uncovered his entire career. We know that. But he's been a bombshell since he's been in the league. So what is it going to take to slow him down? It's pressure and it's physicality. But he leaned into it this week. He goes, hey, I know this guy's good. Marshawn Lattimore is a fantastic cornerback.
Yeah.
But another thing, too, he didn't get a receiving touchdown. He got that great design handoff for the rushing touchdown. I mean, there was nobody going to catch him on that.
No.
So you're going to see more of these. It's going to confuse the defense. And I expect a heavy dose of KJ Osborne this year. He has come in and made some clutch catches so far. Probably the most this year as he's done like maybe in the previous season altogether. Now he had good catches last year, don't get me wrong, but you're going to see more of those too because JJ is going to get that attention. So I'm excited for the offense, but I have to defend Kirk. Learning a new offense every year is bullshit. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like for my job, you guys know I handle dogs. Every year I have an evaluation to maintain my job. I might have a different person every year come in. He'll put the same stuff out, just like the plays are the same. And I'm not saying that I'm an NFL quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using analogies the way I understand it. But some guys are just really good at explaining how to do my job correctly to where when I go in and do it, it feels fun. It feels exciting. I don't feel the pressure. And then other times I walk in and I'm like, I really hope this works because I don't have a good feeling today. I couldn't imagine the guy who runs the entire offense changing every single season. Like, how many times did the offensive coordinator change in New England when Tom Brady was there? I guarantee you it wasn't that much. His whole 20 years there.
Right.
So I just wanted to make that point.
And I tell you what I think Kirk does really well, no matter who the offensive coordinator is. Anytime you get him in an up-tempo situation, Kirk seems to thrive pretty well with that. And we've seen the Vikings at a couple times. I know they did it to start the game, and then a couple other times during the course of it where they switched to that up-tempo offense. And it works pretty well for Kirk. And that's something I would like to see them continue to run and expand upon.
So the announcers were chatting during the Tampa Bay Kansas City game, and they were talking about NFL trends currently. And one of them that's a big trend for a lot of teams right now that I've seen both you guys get upset about is the defensive shell, the umbrella, as we've been talking about. And that's a trend around the league. So it's not like our defensive coordinator in Minnesota is the only one doing this. It's around the league a lot.
Yeah, and we get upset when you lose because it looks bad, and we have bad memories of that particular loss a couple of weeks ago with that team and that stadium. But the difference is, and we've highlighted it already 3 times on this show, this may be the 4th or the 3rd, I'm not sure. But this is the point last year where that wouldn't go our way. Like I specifically
100%.
remember watching the Arizona game, and Greg Joseph misses a field goal, overtime in Baltimore, and then the Detroit game. It's 3 wins away. If we had those 3 wins, we would have been a playoff team. But for whatever reason, this game ends on a double doink because Will Lutz, that dude is amazing at his job.
Oh, yeah.
And he was about to set an NFL record with 2 60-plus yard or 60.
He had
or
the
more.
distance, too.
He did. The accuracy was pinpoint off maybe 6 inches. And from the first bounce, you saw the Saints players thought it was going in. But it fell out. And
it should have went in. Most of the time it does go in. Every now and then it doesn't, and I know that's not how you want to plan to win games, sure. But every now and then, you gotta get one that bounces your way.
And that's happening with this team this year. I like what you said, Adam. You were talking about the shell. It's a popular now. I'm glad you said that because I haven't paid attention much. Usually watching the quarterback or the wide receiver from the other team, but I see that could be a trend. You know, this copycat league, they always say that phrase. But if you can find a way and it works, and I think with the personnel they have, the bend don't break is probably the best for especially the older players on the outside and the secondary. But the other thing I want to address that I've seen a lot of on social media, people are upset that Zadarius Smith and Daniel Hunter aren't getting a lot of sacks. Guys, there were 8 quarterback hits yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm actually more upset that I don't really feel like Delvin Cook is earning what he's making in Minnesota.
Here comes Kyle West. Take the floor, dude.
I've been saying this for a while now too, and I agree with you, Adam. Is that it's like I just don't know long term whether or not we're keeping Dalvin Cook. You look at the contract, and I'm going, man, you just don't want to pay that much for a running back. Period. We've got talent. Can you keep Madison and shuffle him out? Are you shuffling both of them? These are decisions that the team is ultimately going to have.
I mean, it's not Leonard Fournette -3 yards yesterday. It's not that play.
And we have to do this as a courtesy to defend. We love Dalvin Cook. He had that weird situation where I guess an ex-girlfriend was. He's been a pleasure on the team.
This season has not been his best.
It's not, and don't discredit him either. He was playing injured yesterday. I think they should have sat him yesterday.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit too.
Sure.
He's had issues with this shoulder, and he even said in the post game, like, yeah, I should have been, they call it hardware. He's like, I should have been wearing a brace, or I should have been taking care of it better. So it's all I know, but it's almost like, dude, you've had injury prone problems with this. It's kind of your fault right now that you're in this situation, and that's a dick thing to say, but
I don't give him crap for getting hurt, but like you said, the preventative stuff there, and it's different if it was a knee brace. That's obviously going to slow his speed down and his range and his shiftiness. But a shoulder, I mean, that could easily one run up the middle, linebacker hits you or a big tackle hits you, your shoulder's out. So
and look at the league right now. The Broncos, Javonte Williams tore everything in his knee.
Oh,
Cordero Patterson's going on short-term IR.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Speedy recovery to those guys. That sucks.
I think running backs are just they take a pounding.
Yeah.
And to invest that much in one, I mean, the expectancy in the league for running back is not long.
I think they should have let him sit out this game and get healthier. I mean, I said it yesterday. I don't know the situation is going to be good if we have to call Ty Chandler to the field or Keeney, but I would like to see what we have in them, and I think that rotation of backs would be cool.
We got spoiled a little bit too. We had all those years with Adrian Peterson where, I mean, he didn't miss games other than, okay, he got injured and then he came back at a historically fast.
Yeah, him and Latavius Murray or any of the other players that would have been, used a lot in a running offense and on another team. Minnesota's been spoiled with running backs. They absolutely have over the years.
For sure. So you just kind of assume that, okay, we're going to give Dalvin Cook a bunch of money and he's going to be just up and healthy all the time. And the nature of the position tells you, like you said, Smith, more times than not, they're not going to be healthy as consistent as what we were kind of accustomed to in Minnesota.
Well, I'd like to do a callback too. Like I'm not a GM, I'm not a coach, I'm not a player, I'm not an owner, I'm not a cap guy, but I said earlier this year that guaranteed money is going to start creeping in more and more, not just for quarterbacks. And if you can do a lower salary but guarantee all the money, it would have worked perfect for him. I don't know his salary right now, and I could probably Google it or whatever, but if it got under, let's say $9 million guaranteed every year, that's cheap for a running back. Because a lot of these, like Zeke Elliott making the money he's making, and Tony Pollard's clearly outperforming him. Cool. It's great to have those two 1A, 1B backs because they're great, but lower the cap hit, guarantee the money. He gets paid. He gets secure money. And I'm not saying we predicted this. We could have called it, but we knew coming in from the Rams, they aren't going to run the ball like Mike Zimmer used to do. That wasn't going to be a thing. So we'll see what happens with Cook.
O'Connell has shifted a little bit in his play calling.
Kirk is throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah. And they seem like they're trying to get the fullback, CJ Ham and Cook, a little more involved with it, like they're trying to shift it.
The announcers during that game definitely were talking a lot about when CJ Ham was out there.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm recapping this game in my head while you guys are talking. Johnny Munt was being great the first 3 weeks and missed a wide open catch. Could have converted on that. Oh, that hurt so bad.
Growing pains. That was bad.
That was
like
close to being a donkey right there, but
that looked like a Madden glitch. Like that ball phased right through him. That was crazy.
That was his only.
Bernie wants me to go let Mew in the house, but no, Bernie, not yet.
We'll run down some stats here. He is throwing the ball a lot. Kirk Cousins, 38 pass attempts, 25 completions, averaging 7.1, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times, but that's such a good front seven. I mean, kind of felt like that was going to be how the game was going to run. As far as rushing, Dalvin Cook, 20 carries for 76 yards, long of 14. The average is not good. 81 total yards in the team. 1 carry from Justin Jefferson for 3 yards for a touchdown. That was cool.
Yeah.
Alexander Madison, 3 attempts, 3 yards. So they threw the ball a lot. That's what really matters. Let's talk about the receivers here. Justin Jefferson led the way, 13 targets, 10 catches, 147 yards, long of 41. It's great to see him back.
It's weird that both those long plays, the one from Cook and the one from Jefferson, were both like near the end of the game.
That's right. I didn't piece that together. Oh, reliable coming in second. Adam Thielen, 9 targets, 8 catches for 72 yards.
It's nice to see Thielen get targeted earlier in the game. He needs to be a larger part of this offense.
Yeah, when Jefferson's getting so much attention.
Right. Even in this later stages of his career where he's kind of maybe a little bit, you still want to get Adam Thielen out there involved in it.
Herb Smith, Alexander Madison, Jalen Naylor, Dalvin Cook, KJ Osborne down here at the bottom. 2 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards, but it was a conversion. I like that a lot. Good for you,
like
KJ
that.
Osborne.
They got to do a better job of getting him involved in the game as well, too.
Defensively, I was talking earlier. I gave my game ball to Eric Kendricks, his 100th start for the Vikings, led the way in tackles. Jordan Hicks was right below him, then Cam Bynum. All total, the team had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 5 passes defended, and 3 quarterback hits. So that's cool. Oh, my goodness. I misread stats earlier. Damn it. Sorry about that, guys. I gave those 8 quarterback hits to the freaking Vikings when it was the Saints. All right, I'm going to put myself in the penalty box now.
Timeout for Kyle Smith. You know, what's funny looking at the stats? I closed it down. But
you know what's not funny is a fractured ankle.
Yeah, I was saving that.
Yeah, we might as well talk about that. Lewis Seen getting injured. I believe he's still over there, right?
I think he's back. He had Kevin O'Connell said today, I watched a little bit of his press conferences. The first thing he talked about was some of their medical staff stayed back. He gave high praise multiple times to all of the staff in London, the facility they had him transported to. Tomorrow at 2:30 local time, so 3:30 Eastern, he will be having the initial start to repair that. So it's like a compost fracture, I believe. There's obviously no timetable for return, so it looked really bad. I only saw still photos, and it made me cringe because I hate lower body injuries. But
yeah, when he stopped and his body started changing direction and his leg didn't, things are bad.
That's wild.
That's a tough break for the kid. I feel bad for him. You know that he was
already getting a lot of criticism for not playing on defense.
That's not like that's his decision. He didn't make the decision to not be what role he's playing with.
And it looked like he was frustrated with himself for not being there on defense. Correct. So this is like a bad thing for him mentally and physically. But hopefully he'll stay close to the team and they'll stay with workouts and meetings and everything, and he can continue to grow and develop that way until he's ready physically.
Absolutely, he will. Speedy recovery to Lewis Seen, the first-round pick. It's Kevin O'Connell's first pick as a Vikings head coach. So it was nice to hear him say such supportive things about that. even though it's a bad situation. But yeah, tomorrow he'll have his first go. I believe it's surgery, so we'll keep you updated on that for sure.
It's frustrating. We all had high expectations for him. I think we wanted to see him all do really well. By all accounts, he seems like a great kid, so that makes you want to pull for him extra.
And it doesn't
hard
seem
too.
like a lot of the players that were taken in front of him have been super impactful either. So,
Right.
the ones the Vikings could have taken when he was on the clock. So, I haven't heard much from Hamilton.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit. It's okay though. Rarely do rookies step in and they win, their position of the year, whatever. You want to see them have an impact. Not everybody's going to be Micah Parsons and just light up the league, or Aaron Donald as they get in. But
we love
injuries.
To focus on
injuries are tough.
We love to focus on the outliers. You want every rookie.
Oh yeah. But what about Tom Brady? You can find a quarterback anytime.
Yeah.
I love that so much because it's like, okay, if it was that easy, why are there not 50 of him since 2000, whenever he came in the league? It's so stupid. Of course, I want Patrick Mahomes to be the quarterback of the Vikings. Help them figure it out. If that's what you want, that's what I want.
That is my favorite stupid thing that other Vikings podcasts say when they're like, whoa, really? All I want the Vikings to do is to draft the next Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, go fucking find me a generational talent at quarterback like that. That's real super easy to do here. We're really on
he's 25 years old, an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, a Super Bowl champ, been to 2 Super Bowls. Guys, it's not that easy. Josh Allen, I believe, is otherworldly right now. Him and Patrick are going back and forth each week as to who the best quarterback in the league is. He hasn't even been to an AFC championship game.
Like Adam said, what was it, a month ago? Maybe a little over a month ago, where Adam said that Patrick Mahomes could retire right now, and you could make the case for him going into the Hall of Fame.
I would 100% think he could.
Yeah. So just go find one of those guys. That's no big deal.
That's so funny.
Come on.
We would love that too, guys, but it's not that easy. That's like saying, you know what, I'm going to wake up and win the lottery today. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know the formula for that.
Do I think the Vikings are the best 3-1 team right now? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But the way they're playing right now, winning games, this is how you get to the playoffs.
It is. And right now, speaking of playoffs, I hate looking at it so early, but I did. We are currently the number 2 seed in the NFC. So,
one in the NFC North.
We are.
You talk about building that winning culture and
a big divisional game coming up.
Right. To build that winning culture, guess what you guys have to do? You have to win football games.
Get Bill Belichick.
That's what Kevin O'Connell is.
You have to get Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's what Kevin O'Connell's doing right now for the Vikings. The team is winning games. They're going to buy into him. So the systems right now that maybe we as fans have some questions about what they're doing offensively and defensively, the players they have to still be bought in, because at the end of the day, they're winning football games.
Well, they've got to be hyped. They had 2 games where it looked like they were going to lose, and they won. And like Adam said, we're the first in the NFC North, 3-1. They only lost to the Eagles.
Well,
they're the only undefeated team. They're the 2nd overall seed in the conference right now. So the biggest thing, and I love the way this was worded. I'm sorry I didn't remember who I can credit for this, but if the Vikings can beat the Bears Sunday, which is a winnable game for them, and that's all I'll say. I'm not going to poo-poo on the Bears. They upset the Niners week 1 in a tropical storm out there in Chicago. So
that game was so disgusting.
It was so bad. But the thing is, if you end up 4-1 and you're 3-0 in the division, you can allow some hiccups along the way. Not that we want that, but that's a really good place to be sitting by the 5th game of the year. So,
and you look at that Eagles game too, and you talk about this Stu Smith, where it's like sometimes you need to throw out the best performance and the worst performance and look at the average. And so in that game, Justin Jefferson being held to a career low, what did he have for yardage?
14 yards.
14 yards. Guys, that's not going to happen again. So you almost look at that loss and that Eagles team, and you don't discredit it, but you go, that's an outlier for me right now, based on the team they played and the performance you got from your star player. So I don't get the frustration from a lot of fans right now. You can be critical of this team. I think that's fair. They have areas they need to improve upon, but I don't get the being so frustrated with them.
What's up, Wes? Thanks for chiming in. He says, unlike last year at this time, the Vikings were finding ways to lose. This year, we're 3-1 and winning games. We talked about that earlier.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good point. I feel after the bye, they will start to click more on offense and defense.
Yeah.
I just want to see them play more consistently.
And don't forget, we got a first-year head coach. So some of these decisions, like when to call timeouts or field goal versus going for it versus punting, I mean, these are all decisions that are new to him.
Yeah.
So let him learn and develop. I mean, so far, I think Kevin O'Connell's doing a solid job.
Yeah.
Oh, his clock management is already better than Mike Zimmer's.
That's not major praise.
However, it's an improvement from what we had before.
Well, that goes back to your point, man, that we can revisit that again. This is why I don't like Vikings Twitter, because if you just find stuff to stay mad about, you're never going to be happy. And it's a lot with the Score North guys. They all hate Kirk Cousins, and I get it. I'm not in love with him, but I'm not going to root against the guy to fail. Why would
Kirk
you
hate gets clicks? I don't blame him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
I don't get the hate for a guy when you want your team to win. Like, I don't tune in every Sunday and go, you know what? I hope we lose today. I hope it stresses me out, and I hope it pisses me off. God, I hope that happens today. I've never said that once. I don't know why you would root for the quarterback of all positions to be bad, but while he's here, while he's chosen to be the starter and he earns his right to that, yeah, I hope he balls out, man. Why not?
Eagles, Packers, Saints, all good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we like them or not.
Yeah.
Andrew says I had us at 1-3 at this point before the season started. Was this post Kevin O'Connell hire or before? Is this pre-draft? Like, when did you have that, Andrew? Let us know. I'm not sure. I know we play the Cardinals coming up. Let me let you guys talk. I'm going to look at the schedule and see what the rest of the opponents are looking like.
Well, here's something.
We did not have very many people sign up for the Survival League this year. We already have 3 eliminated. One person has no strikes. 3 of us have 1 strike. And the rest of you are all bordering on elimination if you get 1 more strike. So be careful in that Survival League.
Freaking Cleveland Browns. Losing to Marcus Mariota. Ruining my weekend. Ugh. So this is, I won't say a rough stretch, but I believe the Vikings can win 3 of these 4 games coming up. We're at home hosting the Bears. The next weekend we go to Miami. It'll be interesting to see if Tua is back by then. The next week, October 30th, the Cardinals come to Minnesota. And then November 6th, don't call it a revenge game. Kirk Cousins goes back to Washington.
The field in Washington. Yuck.
It's so bad. So that's the next batch of the 4 games. The great news about all these games is they are all at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome.
You got to throw that out there. You know how that goes. They only have 2 more primetime games scheduled, or I wouldn't even call it primetime, national games scheduled. They have, 3. Cowboys come to Minnesota November 20th. That's 4:25 p.m. Eastern. That next week is a Sunday night game hosting the Patriots.
Them boys.
We them Cooper Rush boys. Ugh. And then
Cooper Rush is good. I mean, Vikings fans knew that he could pass the ball. A lot of other people didn't, but we knew he could get it done. We've seen it.
I am correct so far on these 4 games of my prediction for the season. I don't know. I think the Miami Dolphins are way better than I thought they would be, and it's away. Don't like that game. I think they can beat the Cardinals, the Bears, and the Commanders. That week after the Commanders game is tough. November 13th, 1 p.m. Eastern, they're going to Buffalo.
Fingers crossed for a double XP weekend on Call of Duty.
I agree, Adam. Get Kyler Murray off his game.
That's right.
That's so funny. I didn't get the reference at first. That's awesome. Yeah. Vikings at Bills on November 13th. That's going to be a tough one. Bills look like the best team in the league, man.
I hate to say this as a Vikings fan, but boy, that's one of those. I don't know how you pick the Vikings to win that one. I don't know.
I don't think you can.
I can't do it.
Not at this point in time. I think those teams are vastly different. They don't really have a run game, but Josh Allen can run, and their receivers are good. Their defense is really good. So I don't know. What's up, Cliff? What's up, Lewis? Cliff says, why was this game so close? Because Minnesota is going to Minnesota, but we won. That's why. And if you don't score touchdowns in the red zone when you go however
Settling
many
for
times,
field goals will do that.
yeah.
Cliff, I still think it's growing pains on offense. Not that anyone is doing anything wrong. I just think that they're still learning and getting used to the system and the play calling and all of that.
The Saints defense is very good.
Yeah.
That too.
Luis Lopez, what's up, dude? Skull, right back to you. What did you think of this game? You can give us your thoughts if you want to chime in. We talked about Lewis Scene's injury. We handed out some game balls and donkeys. It was a weird game. That's what we've said this whole time. It was an odd game, but the Vikings are finding ways early on. And the thing we've touched on the most for you two guys that just joined is if they can somehow beat the Bears in Minnesota this weekend, they'll be 4-1. They'll be 3-0 in the division, and that's a great place to be in early October. So,
yep,
we're hoping for it.
Yep,
they are a beatable
Kirktober.
team. Yeah, Kirktober. Let's go, boys. His stats aren't looking the best this year, but as long as the team wins, that's all I care about. So
that's another funny thing I wanted to mention. So remember when people were saying, oh man, I just want Kirk to take more risks. And even if he throws more interceptions, man, I would be okay with that. And now people are losing their shit because Kirk is throwing more interceptions and going, whoa, just check the ball down more, Kirk.
Especially last year, I alluded to this so much that 09 season, obviously the defense was much better, and I think they had a little more elite talent in other areas. But that Favre year in 2009, he had the same stats as Kirk Cousins, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
We got to talk a little bit about the end of this game. The Vikings were absolutely bailed out by flags this game.
Oh, I'd have been – if I was a Saints fan, I'd have been pissed on that.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I would have been very, 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 very upset.
Yeah.
Well, maybe don't try to kill players on the field and you won't get karma back to you. Fuck you guys.
That was so long ago, none of those guys are even there.
Oh, I know. I'm just going to be salty and petty about it.
Yeah, but I still like to pretend that who was their defensive coordinator, Greg Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still like to pretend that he's there and fuck the Saints.
Here we go. Vikings 6, Bears 3. If that happens this weekend, I'm mailing you a bag of shit to your house, Cliff.
Shit.
What's up, Viking Jerome? We like the new profile pic, man. What jersey are you wearing there?
Looks
Those
like
flags are super ticky-tack.
Yeah, we couldn't leave this podcast without talking about those flags that probably shouldn't have been thrown.
There were a couple. I mean, I feel like this is always a consistent problem in the NFL.
The one where Justin Jefferson grabbed his face mask? That one?
Adam Thielen, he pulled the guy's neck around and they called defensive pass interference there. Like, I'm sure he was in the way, but that should have been penalties at offset. And hey, you know what?
He was in the way.
You should be a ref. I love that logic.
Well, there we go. My boy, John Randall.
I thought that looked like a 90s era Vikings jersey. I like it.
I was telling the boys before we started today, I was watching there's a rugby player, I think he's Australian, it sounds like his accent there, and he said he's watching all these, he watches like the top 100, he's getting into American football and culture and stuff, and he watched the John Randall Football Life, and my favorite play that I forgot about was John Randall tackling Trent Dilfer when he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He got so pissed that he thought he went for his knees and his ankles, and he was just making a tackle on the lower body because he was obviously not as fast as the quarterback. Trent Dilfer gets ejected from the game for trying to hit him and start a fight. And Chris Carter's like, this man was so mad he actually thought he could fight John Randall. Probably a good thing you got kicked out of that game, man. It's like, it's probably not a good day for you.
You'd have to be insane to try to pick a fight with John Randall.
I just see those bull rushes, man.
Wes, I think you're right, Wes. I think Conklin makes that catch that Munch was missing.
Yeah.
There we go. Big dog in the house. They were talking about Johnny Munt earlier. I had to give him some shade for a little bit because, he's been cool the last couple games. We've called his name a couple times, but he should have made that catch. Lewis has our same thought. Happy with 4-2.
Miami's going to be super tough.
It's a tough team. They got good players everywhere for sure. I don't know if
4-2
anybody
defense.
in the secondary has the
4
speed to keep up with Tyreek Hill, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, right. That's not going to be fun. I don't think anyone can cover him on this team currently. But 4-2, that'd be a fantastic start to this team this season. You know that? New coach, new offense, new defense.
No
new
Elvin Kamara in
philosophies
this
all
game
around.
either to run for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That was one of the most disgusting Vikings games I ever had to sit through.
hmm
I don't think any of us enjoyed any minute of that game. Merry Christmas.
Hey, here you go, Kyle. You can address this one more time.
Dalvin Cook is expendable. Yeah, I think so. I think after this year, that's the conversation this team really has to make. And another point is that you have to future-proof yourself here because Justin Jefferson is going to cost you $1 billion in contract when they finally have to make that come up. So you're not paying that much money for a wide receiver, and you're not also doing that with a running back. So I'm not seeing it for this team. I think you can running back by committee and do without him.
I just hope that Andrew Booth can get up to speed by the time Patrick Peterson takes off.
Yeah.
I
know it's weird too, man. Talking about this stuff, not just Waddle on speed. I wonder if pressure is going to be tough in that game in Miami. I wonder if we could generate that,
like bariatric pressure.
maybe defensive pressure. That'd be cool. I can't believe they played a game in Tampa Bay after a hurricane passed through there. That was nuts.
NFL, baby. Don't want to lose that revenue. These people don't have homes, so they'll come to the game. That's Roger Goodell's thought process.
Weren't there pets allowed at that game too?
I have no idea.
There was one game this week where pets were allowed in the stadium.
Huh.
As a dog guy for I don't know how many years, I don't know why you would stress your animal out. You don't go to NFL games with your dog every week. That's I
all that reminds me of is you've probably watched that, West, when Cody Rhodes made his entrance in AEW with his dog with the fireworks. The dog was just hiding and crying.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that to your animals.
That's crazy to me. It's all about whatever's cute. It's funny. That's a rant for another podcast and another day. Wow, 48 minutes almost. That's wild. It feels like we just got on here. I think you all are in agreement in the comment section, though. We're happy that we're 3-1. Adam said it earlier. We all agree. I don't think we're the best 3-1 team, but this is the difference between last year. This might be the difference in the culture shift, and they've got a winnable game at home at 1:00 on Sunday. So,
do you think Saints fans are just like starting to think that they can't beat the Vikings? Like the heavens won't let them?
Maybe. I hope so.
My dog was moving earlier. I thought somebody was like breaking into my house. I was like, what is that noise? I think you were referencing earlier, Adam, the Christmas game a couple years ago.
Yes.
God. Yeah, don't forget about that. And you can always relish that 2009 NFC Championship game. You've beat us.
You cheated.
Oh, man. Yeah, a winnable game on Sunday. Hopefully they can fix some of the little quirky issues, but I think they're finding their stride, and God, it's nice to see the special teams.
Is this our home or a road game coming up?
Home game.
Nice.
Yep, Bears at Vikings this Sunday. We don't have another divisional game after this one until, oh my God, December 11th. Over 2 months.
Dang. Over 2 months.
Dolphins, Cardinals, Commanders, Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, and Jets in between. Oh, that sucks. They're all away division games too. That sucks.
Yeah, all the home divisions are getting done early.
All right. Well, we will keep you guys up to speed.
I agree with Lewis on his last comment that he put up here in the chat.
Creating pressure. Designing pressure needs to be more of a thing because the Vikings only blitzed a handful of times against the Saints, and each time they got pressure. So maybe a few more blitzes sprinkled in there. That's one thing Mike Zimmer did very well was gap blitzes.
Who's worse, Aaron Glenn or Ed Donatel? Time will tell. Time will
See,
Donatel, sir.
I'm not out on Ed Donatel. I think it's important for the Vikings to stick with the decisions they made. Like, you
Mhm.
don't want to start mucking with stuff because, I mean, look, this happens all the time. Remember when we were like, "Oh my God, the Tampa 2 and Leslie Frazier, and it's got to go. It's awful." And then look at the Bills right now. Leslie Frazier,
Just reinventing the wheel all over again 10 years later.
right. So you just kind of got to stick with things a little bit. And we're 3-4 games into the season. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like they'll figure this out on defense.
Yeah, and I think that some of the players we wanted to step up have had. Cameron Dantzler, minus a couple of plays, has had a really good season so far. Patrick Peterson had a really good play so far. So
I was surprised Josh Metellus played as well as he did when he stepped in.
Absolutely. Had a great game against the Lions last week. That was great. Vikings Rome. Yeah, I'm happy games come down to about the ball bounces our way. I get it. So, well, I think that's about it, man. Vikings win 28-25.
I think we got a message coming in for West.
Uh-oh.
I think it's got to be more than get.
The suspense is killing me. I wish I knew the Jeopardy music on my guitar.
Maybe he's going to say get naked.
Get the tables. I love
Is
you guys.
anyone here crazy enough to bet on the Vikings? Like, would you put money down that the Vikings are going to beat the Bills?
The Bears?
The Jets?
No, the Bills.
I'd put money down they're going to beat the Jets. It wouldn't be a lot of money.
We'd have to see the odds.
And it takes all that. It's stuff that creeps in our head now that you need to have information. Like, is Justin Jefferson out? Is so and so playing for their team? Like, I need to know all these things beforehand. But I would. Certain games. There are certain games I wouldn't bet. Like when they go to Buffalo, there's not a chance in hell I'm picking the Vikings to win.
Right.
Not a chance. So
you'd almost have to give me like 5-1 odds to even think about it.
Yeah. That's a good point. He said, get the tables.
Definitely not dollars to donuts. Although I am a man who likes donuts.
Donuts are welcome here. All right, let's do some plugging, boys. What do you think?
I haven't been doing much over at the Viking Age or Undead Walking, so sorry for anybody who's been looking for my work over there. I still have not been feeling fantastic, but I'm working on that, trying to get right. In the meantime, MN Viking Zombies, where you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, pretty much anywhere, TikToks. That's where you can get me at is MN Viking Zombie, whatever social media it is.
Hell yeah. Go bother Kyle West. Right here.
Yeah. You check me
Send
out.
him random facts about stupid things he doesn't care about. Do that. We should spam his message box with that. You can also buy Kyle West's stuff here. He's got some photography or Purple People podcast merch. I have a slew of shows coming up if you guys want to follow me. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, I have 2 this week. Cramerton on Wednesday, Gastonia on Friday, and next Wednesday I have another Charlotte show. 2 places I've been before, 1 that I have not, so come on out. It's going to be hours and hours and hours of covers and some originals sprinkled in there, but find me on Instagram and say hello. Appreciate you guys. Here we go. The Vikings beat the Bills. I'm jumping through a table. You have to record it, Lewis. You have to, and we'll post it on the page.
Oh, yeah.
I guess another one we said, yeah, if they play at noon, I'll take my chances. Primetime, no way. Yeah, I can't. Pizza Ranch reference made its way in. Andrew, thank you for that. Oh, we got 2 bets. All right. This is a possible. If you typed it up enough and typed it out and you posted it, we're going to count that.
The Pizza Ranch fried chicken. Good stuff.
Yeah, we're going to count that as a bet. So Lewis and Wes, if they beat the Bills, we need video evidence. So RIP to your shoulders and your hips and possibly your back. One of the folding tables. Oh,
just not a glass table.
Yeah, don't do that. You guys aren't mankind, all right? I don't need to say all that hardcore stuff in here.
But thanks again for tuning in, hanging out. It's always great. We're going to have people in the chat. Thanks to both Kyles for joining me and talking Vikings football. We love it. In the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.